Hello everyone! Teacher Joey and I are here to tell you a little bit about the Day of Sustainability. Today is the 11th of November, and all around the world there are children thinking about ways to care for the world. And we're going to read you a little story. It's called Mr. Finney and the Other Side of the Water. And Mr. Finney is having some big problems too. And together with all the other characters from the story, they're going to think of some good ways to help the world become better again. So listen to our story.
Okay, I will start with the story. Mr. Finney and the Garden Underwater. Mr. Finney left his boots behind in his Finnmobile and walked onto the beach. He walked across the white sand towards the water, which was as blue as he'd seen from his house. But the waves were higher than he had thought. Foot for foot, very slowly, Mr. Finney walked into the sea. He looked around to his Finnmobile, took a deep breath, and dived under the waves. Mr. Finney spread his fins and let himself be floating around with the current. Bright-coloured fish with funny noses and weird fins like combs swam all around him. Some fish had tails that were almost see-through. Others had very thick lips and were very round. He saw a brown fish which looked like a rock with spikes on it. Mr. Finney looked around and he was amazed. It was magical. What would all these fishes, what would their names be? It was so beautiful, the sun rays reaching down to the water were like waving flowers on the sea bottom. A lot further away he saw some red and purple things growing between the rocks. If he made his eyes really small, all the colours would wash over each other. Was this coral? Suddenly the sun disappeared. Above his head, Mr. Finney saw a huge shadow sliding through the water. He never had seen anything like this. He dived in and waited, hoping that the shadow would disappear. But the shadow stopped. Mr. Finney wanted to get away, but how? If he would swim right up, he would bump his head. He didn't. He was scared to swim around. Eventually he thought, okay, I'll do it. He swam right up, but when he got closer, he saw white stripes and spots on the big grey thing. He bumped it. Nothing happened. He touched it again. A little bit harder now. Was it a boat? A raft? Hello? Is there anyone? Mr. Finney called up. Very slowly the shadow moved backwards. Who are you? Asked Mr. Finney. I'm a whale shark, and I live here. But don't be afraid. I might be big, but I'm not dangerous. And what are you doing here? Well, I'm actually looking for someone who can tell me what's wrong with the coral.
The whale shark blew bubbles and bubbles and bubbles. He said, I know someone that has been living here for a long, long time, and he knows a lot about water. I'll take you to him. Just hold on to my fins. Mr. Finney looked straight into the enormous mouth. He was glad the whale shark told him that he wasn't dangerous. A little while later, they came to a giant turtle who was swimming between some beautiful fish. We're here, said the whale shark. I have to go now. See you around. Mr. Finney raised a fin to thank him.
"And who are you?" asked the old turtle.
Mr. Finney thought about the first time he met the wise walrus. He'd been very old also. "I'm Mr. Finney, and I would like to ask you some questions about the ocean."
"Welcome to our paradise. These are my friends, blowfish, doctorfish, coral butterflies. But tell me, what is it exactly you would like to know?"
Mr. Finney told the story about the island of Paradiso and that all the animals had to flee. "I understand that the island disappeared because the water is just rising and rising. But why is the coral dying? It's already living underwater. It's not like it can drown. So there has to be something else going on." Mr. Finney ended his story.
"What you are asking me is very, very important," said the turtle slowly. "The answer, however, is not so simple. First, I'll show you what the coral looks like."
The coral, is that the beautiful flowers and like the spiky rocks I see at the bottom of the sea?
"That's it. Come on, I'll show you up close."
Mr. Finney went swimming with the turtle and all the funny fish all the way to the bottom. It was beautiful here. Mr. Finney felt the magic of the colored little spikes and the wavy plants. And he said, "Can I pick it like flowers in my garden so I can show my friends how beautiful it is?"
"Oh no, coral takes a long, long time to grow, much longer than flowers do."
"I'm sorry," said Mr. Finney. "I didn't think of that." He did wonder how the turtle knew anything about flowers, but he didn't say anything.
"Come on," said the turtle. "I'll show you the coral that is dying."
They still swam between the colored animals that looked like plants. But after a while, the bottom became barren, and it started to turn gray. It did not look at all like a garden with wavy plants and colored little spikes everywhere. It was a lot darker, too. Mr. Finney looked at the turtle with scared eyes. "Yes," said the turtle, "this coral, it died." "Well, how did that happen?" asked Mr. Finney.
"It could be many different things. Coral doesn't like the water to change."
"But why not?" Mr. Finney asked.
"Coral needs lots of sunlight to live. But if the water is rising, it's deeper underwater, and the sun rays just can't get to it."
Mr. Finney was listening. "The coral also doesn't like it if the water gets too warm," continued the turtle. "So the coral has two problems. There's too much water and it's too warm." Paradiso, the bird, also told that the water that was warm uses up more space than cold water.
"There's one more thing," said the turtle. "Coral also doesn't like to live in water that is dirty."
"Dirty? This water?" asked Mr. Finney.
"Oh, yes. That's because there's a lot of trash floating around in the water," said the turtle. "And don't forget about us. If there's no more coral, we will die too."
Mr. Finney was shocked. Then a doctorfish came along and he explained that us fish, we eat the plants that's in the coral. But if
if there's no more coral, plants also die, and we have no more food. Do you understand?
And we also don't like dirty water, said one of the coral butterflies. Mr. Finney gave a deep sigh. I think Paradiso's going to be very sad when he hears that all of this is happening under the water. I have to go up quickly to tell him what's going on. But I won't forget about you. And he waved as he swam his way back up to the shore.
The old turtle blinked his eyes. Do tell this to everyone. I hope they listen to you. And you never know, we might see each other above water again. Mr. Finney was dizzy when he came out of the waves. Swimming and thinking about all the things the old turtle had told him. He kept wondering why the water got warmer and why that all of a sudden was so much water. Even when the sun went down, he was still on the beach thinking about it. In the middle of the night, Mr. Finney came back to the village. It was now all dark. He was tired. When he was in bed, he could very difficult get into sleep. He still heard the same questions in his head. That was the story of Mr. Finney. And Mr. Finney was talking about problems in the sea. Now, what we would like you to do is to start thinking about problems that have to do with water. Because at the end of this school year, we will have a science fair. Very exciting. A science fair is somewhere where you can show off science projects that you have made. If you would like to make a science project, you don't have to start right now. Take your time. Start thinking of an idea first. Talk to your mummies and daddies. Maybe you get a nice idea. And then, throughout the school year, I will come back to you and say, hey, might be time to start thinking about making your project. So I hope you're thinking about sustainability and the problems that Mr. Finney has seen in the underwater land, in his underwater gardens. Thank you very much, and we'll hope we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.